And so, like, this week we're talking about the roles of the rich, and that based off of what you described, you sound very rich. But no,
No.
but as far as not so much of how people acquire their wealth, but what they do after they get the wealth. And as we go through this conversation, it's not us. I don't think this is really so much about how rich people spend their money, but it's like how do they possibly spend their time, resources to help the community and people around. And so, we was looking up scenarios, and one of the scenarios we was talking about was a person that acquires a lot of money, but they sit on it, not willing to help their community. And then I asked, I was like, Dad, do you think it's wrong for people who are wealthy? And and granted that not all wealthy people have time to do certain things, but do you think that there's a sense of responsibility from people who may have a certain amount of money to help the community, whether that's bringing in jobs or you know what I mean? You think there's a sense of responsibility for wealthy people in our individual communities?
Responsible to who?
Like our neighborhoods, like do you think it's because it's hard. I think it's hard, right? Because to a certain point, if someone acquires whatever that they acquire, it's on them what they do with it, right? They earn their money however they earn their money. They earn their resources, their connections, however they earned and found that. But to a certain extent, I still think that's a responsibility to help people that's coming up under you, especially in our neighborhoods and communities. And so I'm not saying that every rich person should be donating thousands and thousands of dollars, but maybe like, I don't know, creating job opportunities or creating events or sponsoring things. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's hard because when I think of this question, originally the first thing that hits my head is a rich person throwing money at somebody, but that's not necessarily what it is people being responsible for what's going on in the community.
Do you think, say if a wealthy person, multi-billionaire, if he was to give people money in a community, do you think that would help them?
The people in the community?
Yes.
Depends on the community, but if it's from a community where it's more so there.
No, I ain't talking about the community. I'm talking about the individuals he give the money to. Do you think that would help them?
Some of them, maybe not all of them. Definitely not all of them.
How do you think it'll help?
Give other people opportunities. Like if someone gave me a lot of money right now, it will help me tremendously.
But we're not talking about you.
Yeah, but I'm in a community, so you are talking about me. Thank you very much.
Go to Proverbs.
Okay. I hope you don't say Proverbs 5. Wait, is that what I was on? No. Where's my Proverbs verse? I have a Proverbs verse. Oh, Proverbs 19. Lending to the poor is like lending to the Lord. That's what I have. But Proverbs what?
Got to get back in the mic. Trying to get my glasses.
Oh, goodness. All right, hold on. I got to go there. All right.
Read Proverbs. What version you have? Proverbs 17:16.
I got the Good News translation. Proverbs 17 what?
16. Let me read it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. You ready? Are you there?
Yeah. Amen.
Okay. Verse 16. Of what use is money in the hand of a fool, since he has no desire to get wisdom?
Okay.
So just by giving someone money doesn't mean that you help them. It could hurt them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they don't have the wisdom to handle it.
That's money, though. Like, even like.
Well, when you're talking about a wealthy person, what is assumed that you're talking about giving the money to help the community?
Yeah, but not necessarily that either. Like, look at some of these tycoons that are out here now.
But hold on. Don't combine the two.
I'm not. I was trying to separate them from the start.
Your question was, do they have a responsibility to help the community? We were talking about wealthy people.
Yes. Do they have a responsibility to help the community? Yes.
Remember, part of our week, we had recorded the episode at Malone.
Yeah, this is 2 weeks later, though, Dad.
Yeah, but remember when I talked about the individual who was on the U.S. team with me that they made millions by doing it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think in God's providence, He allowed me to reach that level of financial stability.
Okay.
Because at that time, in my maturity, I don't think I was able to handle it.
I got you, Dad. I got you.
What you mean you
Want
got me?
to hear my rebuttal to that?
That's not a rebuttal.
No,
I'm just saying.
I know you want to hear my rebuttal to that, though.
Not really, but-
Just know that I got you, Dad.
Okay.
I win. Hey, wait. I win. Dad, I win.
What are you talking about?
Oh, that's the wrong button. Dad, I win. Okay, just imagine, right? You couldn't handle the responsibility. I'm going to the group camera on this one so we can get both our responses. You couldn't handle the responsibility of possibly earning millions of dollars at that point, right? Right?
No, I said in God's providence, probably.
Yeah, but
at that time, I couldn't handle it.
Just say, but you don't know that, right?
Hey.
But just say that that at that point that you really couldn't.
Okay.
Imagine what you could do if you had somebody like Doc be a mentor to you then.
But I didn't.
But what if you did?
What if? Oh,
That's
gonna
my
be
point.
like,
That's my point.
No.
It's like that's what I think the responsibility of wealthy people can be in a community. It's like, yes, we have communities where some people can't handle or don't have the wisdom to handle their wealth. But what if they could be a mentor to people to be able to teach them, like, look, financial responsibility, financial stability, how to use, like, what if you had one of them at that age? It would be a different outcome.
No, because I will have to listen to them and then apply it.
Yeah, but that's
and at that time, what I'm trying to tell you, I don't think that I was mature enough to handle that.
I understand
Or
that.
to listen.
I understand that. But there's a 50-50 chance of you listening and not listening.
I don't think it's
versus,
50-50.
Versus you right now, someone threw money at you at that point that you'll probably fail with it.
No, because I don't think I would have listened.
Maybe
because
not.
Look, because the mindset, look, I made this money. I got this money. I can do what I want with it.
That's true. Maybe,
Right?
maybe not. But
That's just like Nebuchadnezzar when he was walking around his kingdom talking about, look all what I accomplished.
for sure.
And God made him nuts.
100%. But
So you ain't got me there.
I do got you. I do got you. Because just because it may or may not work for you, it could work for somebody else.
But I wasn't talking about nobody else. I was talking about me.
I know, but I'm saying like the role as far as wealthy people in the community doesn't necessarily have to be funneling out cash, but it can be offering resources like that, like sitting down and having conversations or doing groups where people can learn how to create wealth and be able to create opportunities.
Exactly.
And get out of that give me mindset or whatever it is.
Exactly. But I can tell you this. At our church, we had an economic development ministry. And we have things on insurance. We have things on creating wheels. We have on financial stability and stuff. You know, it's very little people come to support it. Mm-hmm. And so if they do that, why would you think they will come? Why? Because somebody a billionaire? They come. Why would they come? Because they expect to get a handout. Just like when Jesus fed 5,000, they was coming back for the fish sandwiches.
Goodness. I got you again. Listen,
they was They was coming for the fish dinners, and then when he didn't have it, what happened?
He was gone.
They was gone.
They skedaddled. But listen, right? So okay. I'm going to put my gym in the circumstance here, right?
Okay, let's use you.
Yeah, just use me 100%.
How many free classes and stuff you...
Oh, but that's my point.
Where are you going out? Where are you going?
That's my point, right? When I first started in a training center,
okay,
people were like, oh, I'm not going down there. It's dirty. It's blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to work out. Boom, 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 boom. But I had a handful of people that did, right?
A very small handful.
Exactly.
That's why my back is sore now.
Yeah.
I'm not wealthy and I'm down there helping.
So I had a small group of people that was coming in working out.
Yeah.
I focused on the people that were there, not on the people that wasn't there.
Okay.
Right? And then as those people that was there was creating success, they was, losing weight, getting faster, jumping higher. Then the other people that was like, oh, I'm not doing that, started to jump on the bandwagon, started coming in. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I feel like it's the same thing with like the economic development courses and stuff at the church. Like you have, like I remember going to those because y'all made me go to everything. So there's a small.
And you are in business for yourself, right?
I wasn't listening to that.
Oh, because you've been asking a lot of questions, brother.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking questions, because I wasn't listening in.
You in remedial.
But like, okay, so at those groups, right, there was a small group of people,
Yeah.
but you focus on those people that are there. And
Exactly,
and
but
all
that your question wasn't that a number of people. Your question was asking, do they have a responsibility to
Yes.
help the community?
and it
stuff?
does. They do. That even though whether it's a small group, big group, I think it's still a responsibility to help the community.
Well, I'm just asking, why is it their responsibility? Because they live in a certain community. One, a wealthy person probably won't live in that same community.
Maybe not.
But why is it their responsibility to do it?
Because God tells us to.
Well, God tells who?
Us.
Who is
People.
us?
People who have, the people who acquire. I'll show you right now because you like verses.
Okay.
Okay, Proverbs 19 verse 17. Like I
Okay.
said, that lending to the poor is like lending to the Lord. That's all you need right there.
Who is he talking to? Is he talking to followers of him or non-followers?
Followers.
Okay. He's talking to the Christians.
Yeah.
We didn't say that rich person was a Christian or not,
Okay, we on a Christian podcast, Dad. We on a
but we talk about everybody.
That's true, but we're not talking about everybody right now. I
okay.
may have not said that this was a Christian person. This is a
Okay.
Christian. You're
Okay.
right. I didn't say that in the beginning.
Okay, but in Proverbs 17:16 said, what use is money in the hand of a fool since he lacked the wisdom?
That's why you teach them.
right.
You show them.
I'm not saying they don't.
Okay.
But I'm the mindset of most people, and why you hear people talk against wealthy people is because they have all that money. They don't mean no rich people. They ain't no good. They stole the money. That's why they there. They robbed. They took advantage of the poor. That's what. Wait a minute. How is taking advantage of the poor make you rich? They ain't got nothing. I don't understand that. But I think, and then when I hear the same people, I ain't gonna mention no names, people talking that the rich folks and this and that and all this, but they go buy a lottery ticket. I was like, why are you buying a lottery ticket? Because you want to be one of them.
I want to read this verse with you, though. I don't really know the context behind it, so we're going to do it together with the group of the podcast, if that's cool. 1 Timothy chapter 6.
Hold on.
So this one has to deal with, like, wait, did I give you the wrong verse?
1 Timothy what?
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6.
Yeah.
What verse?
18 through 19. I want to kind of go through. I kind of want to start with like verse 2 though, and kind of go down if that's possible. Because 16 through.
Oh, you want to do a Bible study?
I mean, real quick, because 16 just says. Okay, I'll just read 16 through 19.
Hold on. To our listeners, we want you to chime in on this. 330-366-2636. Chime in on this and tell D how wrong he is.
That's the text line. So go ahead, feel free and tell my dad how he's a heathen for this.
Where are you starting?
Chapter 16. 1 Timothy chapter 6, 16 through 19. And that says, he alone is immortal. He lives in the light that no one can approach. No one has ever seen him. No one can ever see him. To be honor and eternal power. Amen. Commend those who are rich in the things of this life, not to be proud, but to place their hope not in such and in certain thing as riches, but in God, who generously gives us everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share with others. In this way, they will store up for themselves a treasure which will be a solid foundation for the future. But okay, so I'm gonna pause right there real quick.
Okay.
So I think the issue when it comes to the debate of what rich people should do always falls on their pockets, like what's in their bank account. I don't believe wealth is just a dollar amount. So when like the scriptures in First Timothy is talking about wealth, I don't think wealth is just taking money, taking it out of my pocket and handing it to the people in the community. I think wealth is actually showing people how to create their own wealth, because that's the true wealth. Like you said, you can give old you whatever money that could solve all your problems, but if you're not mature enough to handle that, you can't do anything with it.
Right.
But if you teach somebody how to potentially gain wealth for themselves, that's up to them if they use it or they don't use it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so I think the issue when it comes to the rich debate is that a lot of times when we talk about rich people have this role, rich people in our community should do this, that, and third, it's always dealing with how much money should a rich person give back to the community. But I don't think it's always that. I think it could be also just like giving up time, creating classes and opportunities for people to learn how to reach those different levels.
Sure. Why are most people, and you hear today, they think it's fair that they tax rich people more. There's like pay their fair share. Well, what is that fair share? What should that be?
One of my clients.
No. I'm asking. What should that be? Yeah. They said. You hear the political part of it. They said they're not paying their fair share. Say, wait a minute. If you go to the store and you spend $50, you're taxed on $50, right?
Yeah.
If I go to the store and I spend $500, I'm taxed on $500, correct?
Yes.
Who paid more taxes?
You did.
Exactly. Then I hear this argument that a secretary pay more taxes than Warren Buffett. And people jump on a bandwagon. That's not fair. They said, how come he's a millionaire, a multimillionaire? How come he's not paying tax? Well, he's not paid out of payroll tax. He's paid out of capital gains, which is at a lower rate.
Yeah.
But they deceive folks in that to win the argument, to get people divided between the rich and the poor. Now, you're talking about a person grounded in the word of God. If you listen to the verse in 17, it says, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can't command them. We're talking about Christians, because this letter is written to Timothy in the church. We're talking about Christians. If they're wealthy, they should not be arrogant, nor put their hope in wealth. Okay, they're not to depend on the wealth. You depend on God.
Right.
Because like the rich young ruler, when he said, hey, I did all those things.
What verse are you in right now?
The verse you gave.
Oh, shoot. Okay. I got you. I found it.
6.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Then he says, not to put their hope in wealth. Okay, your hope is not in wealth, it's in God. Because if you're faithful to God and do his will and obey him, if he gives you the ability to create wealth, he'll give you more.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're helping the poor. And it says, which is so uncertain, talking about the wealth. But to put their hope in God, as we said, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Okay, so they can enjoy their wealth. Their hope is not in it. That's what the verse is telling us, right? And then you gave 18. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds. Well, that good deeds don't necessarily have to be giving people money. Yeah. But like you said, it could be other things. Then it says, and to be generous and willing to share.
Yeah.
Okay. It could be share money. It could be share knowledge. It could be right. And teaching. But that's used to divide the rich from the poor. And if you see every instance where you want to control people, they divide them.
Yeah.
Slavery. How did Willie Lynch teach the slave owners to keep the slaves from running? He divided them, the light skins from the dark skins, the house slaves from the field slaves. right? How do the politicians divide the people? Based on economic.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
I was gonna say Democrat Republican, but no.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, both of them, they divide people, and that's how you get them to benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now go to Ephesians 4.
Ephesians chapter 4. I'm gonna beat you there, Dad.
Why you always got to be in competition with me? You always lose.
Oh wait, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I went the wrong way.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 28. Read that.
Okay.
You need pictures?
I found it. Okay. If you used to rob, you must stop robbing and start working in order to earn an honest living for yourself and to be able to help the poor.
Okay. So we're talking about people who steal.
Yeah.
And my version says, he who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work, doing something useful with his own hands that he may have something to share with those in need. So it seems like what they're saying in the verse, Paul is telling the saints that in church in Ephesus that you work so it can help everyone.
Yeah.
In what you share. Now I realize that some of the things that they work in, there was crops, from their fields, from the things they planted and grew, or it could be making stuff, is to share. He's talking to the church. He's talking to the church in Ephesus. Mm-hmm. So that's the mindset that we should have. But everybody, I remember a friend of the family from Africa said, everybody in America is so for themselves, so much for themselves, instead of like a community type thing. I got mine, or.
But some may say that's why America has what it has. Then again,
some, because I always say that United States is is not a Christian nation. It's a nation with Christians in it.
Yeah.
Right. And so go to your favorite book, Ecclesiastes.
Are you telling me to go actually right now?
Yes. No, go tomorrow after the episode is over.
Oh, I thought you was rhetorical.
So, I mean, yes, the things that we do, I know that you do training and you don't charge as much as some places do.
I do not.
Right. And there's some people you give maybe it's a day of training free,
I do. I do a lot of free stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why I do it, but I do it.
You're giving them the knowledge, and I do the same thing. But then a lot of times when you give people free stuff, they don't appreciate it.
They do not. What's crazy? They don't show up for the free stuff, but as soon as I put a dollar amount on it, they all be out the door. I'm like, yo, maybe I should start charging from the start.
Yeah, but because why? You feel the pain. That's why we'll go into later that I did the thing with the envelopes with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 8 through 11, read that.
Okay. Don't be surprised when you see that the government oppresses the poor and denies them justice and their rights. Every official is protected by someone higher, and both are protected by still higher officials. Even a king depends on the harvest. If you love money, you will never be satisfied. If you long to be rich, you'll never get all you want. It is useless. The richer you are, the more mouths you have to feed. All you gain is the knowledge that you are rich. Workers may or may not have enough to eat, but at least they can get a good night's sleep. The rich, however, have so much that they stay awake worrying.
You see that?
Dang, you should not want to be an entrepreneur.
No, I mean, there's more problems that come with it.
There is.
Let me tell you something. Right now, if Sky High Fitness went national,
Yeah.
and you become a multimillionaire,
Yeah.
do you think you have more people coming to you for money?
Yeah. It's actually like, even I'm nowhere near that, right? But just seeing the different where the difference in efforts now than when I first started is crazy. Like you get less sleep the bigger you grow.
But why? Because you're worrying about the things you have to do, the quarterly taxes and all that.
It's like keeping everything
exactly.
flowing. Yeah.
And most people can't handle that.
No.
They think they do. How many of these NFL, NBA, or pro Major League Baseball players, you see they get these big contracts and they don't last long. They broke.
I tell you what, like if you don't trust God or have some type of faith, entrepreneurship is not for you. Because like every day, you know, people reach out about partnering, doing this and that. And a lot of times partnering isn't just them just trying to partner with you. There's an investment in it. And so like, you got it, whether you have to pay a dollar amount to work with them or you get like there's royalties or there's certain different escalation clauses. There's always something that is going to make them benefit out of it too, that is going to come out of your pockets in a certain way. And so if you don't have faith in God, like entrepreneurs, because I used to tell people like, oh, anybody can go into business, anybody can start something. No, they cannot. Not anymore. Like, because it takes a certain type of mindset and a certain type of faith to be able to live this type of life. Like, at the end of the day, our family well-being is depending on my mentality. You know?
Yeah, it is.
Which is, it can be stressful, you know, but like, it is what it is.
So that's why the verse says, don't depend on the money, depend on the one that gives you the money.
Yeah.
That makes it able for you to create the wealth.
Yeah. And that's what I've realized too, is like, you know, because God tells the rich, like in these verses that we're reading, that you should help the poor or help other people, not necessarily poor. But I do get a little bit of an ease when I do different things to help other people. So like when we start bringing on trainers, guys that are like, I'm not saying these people are poor, obviously.
Right.
But guys who want to do similar things that I'm doing or just need a place to operate to start, once I start doing that, it gives them a foot to start and also ease my responsibilities a little bit.
Well,
and so,
well, when you're talking about the community, and this is stuff I've seen that, you know, the church, and there's other churches that they have Feed the Hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. And so at a certain time, they're feeding people. They can come into the church and eat. Do you know, in talking to the people, I'm hearing that, oh, this church at this time, they're going to have a meal there. And then this other church, they're giving out this here. They have a schedule. So they go to several churches through the day through the week where they go get meals. They're not willing to work. They just want the handout, but not taking the God that able to provide that for them serious.
Yeah.
They're not looking saying, look, this church, this organization is able to do this because they relationship with God. How many times we've seen in scriptures, you know, like Ruth said, your God would be my God.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Rahab, she said, I've seen or I heard what your God is able to do. Remember me.
Well, let me ask you this. Is that person's fault or is that the church's responsibility?
So it's the church's responsibility because that person don't acknowledge God and they just there for the food. Should the church just cut it off?
No, they shouldn't cut it off, but
no.
Maybe they don't see it because it's not being shown. Maybe it's not being shown that like God is the reason why that we're in a position to help.
Where are they going to get the meal?
The church, but
okay, they can't connect God with the church?
No, because to a lot of people, church is just a building. Like, if people that don't know God, church is just a place you go to worship. They may not know nothing different.
Oh yeah, they come on, D. They know, because I know at our church, the people that comes there for a meal, they share the gospel with them. They give them tracts and they, you know, talk to them and ask them to pray. You know what I'm saying?
That's different, but I'm talking about as a whole. Like, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a fault on that individual, but it might be a fault.
I'm not saying the fault, but I'm saying the mindset.
Yeah, and granted, you know, you always gonna have people that's, you know,
right.
But
I mean, because you're dealing with people. But you know, the Israelites in Scripture, we read this. They was like, hey, he provided. You know, Jehovah Jireh, God that provides, because he provided for them. They're not making that connection, or they just looking at the food and not the one who supplies the food.
Yeah, because maybe they're just not deep thinking.
That's the mindset. But let's bring this on home. When you're talking about expanding, what is your purpose for it? Expanding. And when you expand, how does God get the glory for that?
My purpose of expanding is to give other people opportunities to do different things. So, like, first of all, the training, right? The training that I do, the reason why I do it and do it the way that I do it is to give athletes the opportunity to be the best that they can be. I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to go to the NFL, MLB, NBA, WNBA, pro volleyball, but they're going to be but they're going to get better and be a better version of themselves. That is the purpose of my training at the gym, right? And as far as the trainers go, the role is to give these people opportunities to fulfill their talent with training. And so that's what I'm trying to use this training facility as. It's just like a hub for success, I guess. Like athletes to come in and grow, and for trainers and performance specialists to utilize their talents to help out the community. But through that whole process, I shine my light, my responsibility, share my faith to also give glory to the kingdom. Amen. Hallelujah.
Well, isn't it any wonder why things are going on in the manner which you're doing them? Because realize this, individuals who exercise science majors or occupational therapy majors, through exercise science, you're giving them a place to come that they can use their talents and learn the business.
Just plug it real quick. So we're personal trainers, physical therapists, OTs, occupational therapists, speech therapists. Oh, you guys have a home here. We're looking for people to be able to utilize their talents there. So boom.
Yeah, but go back to the verse in 1 Timothy. Okay. Even though you're not wealthy,
no,
you're in business, because a person that's living on the street or the person that's making $10 an hour, they look at you and they can say the same thing about a wealthy person to me.
Dad, you know what happened to me this week?
What?
This was the craziest thing that happened to me. This dude came into the gym, right? He was like, he came in before, right? Yeah, he brought his kids or whatever, but at that point, they wasn't ready to commit. I'm like, cool, that happens.
Okay.
He walks into the gym, no appointment, walks into the gym this week. It was like, I need my kids in here 3 times a week. What can we do? And I was like, well, that costs this, that, and the third. And then he was like, look, smack some cash down on the table. He's like, look, this is what I got. And I was like, look, man, like, that's not how I usually do business. I was like, this is not even enough to cover, one of the things. But I was like, I made a deal. We made some
concessions.
Yeah, and then we changed some things around a little bit so it's beneficial for them. But I was like, he was like, I just need my kids to get faster and need them to be more explosive. I just keep hearing this is the place to go. I was like, oh, that's dope, man. I was like, at this point, for the last 2 years, we had over 90. I had 90 athletes specifically, strictly for speed. Not talking about speed and agility, strictly for speed. All 90 of those athletes got faster. He's like, man, I don't even need to hear that. He said that your name is buzzing in the streets. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm not nah. But he was like, your name is buzzing in the streets. I was like, oh, that's dope, man. That's cool. He was like, not even so much on the training side. He's a lot of people talk about the type of person you are, too. And so I think that's why he thought he can undercut with the cash.
Okay.
Which he was right, because he got one. He got one.
You saw that cash sitting there. You didn't want to see that cash walking out the door.
No, that's not it. That's not it at all. That's not it. But he undercut it, and he knew because the type of person out there was. but he was like that. My name was buzzing in the street, not just for the training and the fact that guys are getting faster, but the type of person I was. And he said that's what he wants to invest in. And so I'm like, cool, man. I'll see you guys on Monday.
So, in other words, when the verse says, command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, that's what you were doing.
I hope so. We find out Monday.
But I'm saying, but that verse really comes out, but most people don't even think about that.
I don't know. I just think like me, right? Like the only people that really gave me an opportunity was y'all, for real. I mean, there's other people. That's not completely true. But I felt like in places where I wanted to be at, I didn't really have an opportunity. And so that's what I'm just trying to create is opportunities for people who may not want to be opportunities. I don't know if all that feeling or my thought process is scripture based. I don't know if that's just like, or God's way of implanting on me, or like implanting through y'all, and y'all taught me that, you know, being other people focused. I don't know if that's it, but that's just how my mindset is that if you can help people, you kind of help yourself too. And so,
but that's biblical. That is scripture based.
But I don't feel like I got that from the Bible. Like, why am I like that?
But you got it from me.
Oh, jeez.
And what do you think prophets of God was doing? They get the word from God and then give the word.
Yeah.
And so you may have not went to a verse to pull that out, but my instructions to you, the foundation is biblical. Go back to your favorite book again.
James?
Ecclesiastes. I mean, you got about Ecclesiastes, about favorite books.
Yeah, that's true.
Ecclesiastes chapter 5 again.
Like everything's pointless?
Let's start at verse 18.
You gotta put the glasses on.
Yeah, 18. Just keep on living, boy. You wear glasses now.
You said chapter 5, verse 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Read that to 20.
Here is what I have found out. The best thing we can do is eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for during the short life that God has given us. This is our fate. If God gives us wealth and property and lets us enjoy them, we should be grateful and enjoy what we have worked for. It is a gift from God. Since God has allowed us to be happy, we will not worry too much about how short life is.
Yeah. So when you're doing that, don't be stressed, because people get stressed about getting more money. And when you get more money, like we said, you have more problems.
The thing is, I don't get stressed. People try to make me stressed saying that stuff I'm doing is a bad idea.
No, but the initial question that you had, do the rich people have the responsibility of helping the poor? Well, if you're talking about a Christian, God gives them instructions to do that.
Yeah.
You know, their responsibility is to God and to please him. Now, how they do that, we can talk about that, whether it's giving them cash, whether it's giving them insight, whether it's giving them instructions. That's different.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like I said, back in the day, when I was at the height of competition, if I'd have became a millionaire by doing commercials and all that stuff or creating a system, I don't think I would have been able to handle that because I wasn't biblically mature, for one, and I wasn't financially mature. I didn't understand that. That wasn't my world. But as I came along, made a lot of mistakes, because I got my PhD at Visa University.
Here we go.
Because I made a lot of mistakes. You get a credit card. Wait a minute. I can get this now, take this home, and pay it later. And I can keep doing that. But that's the mind. What use is money in the hand of a fool? What use is credit card in the hand of a fool, since he has no desire to get wisdom?
I'm glad you said credit card, because it's very relatable to today.
Exactly. You charge up all this stuff and then you don't pay it. And then in Psalms it says, if you borrow money and don't pay back, you're wicked.
Here's my takeaway for this episode, Dad. That was right.
No.
Yeah, I was.
No.
That's it. That's my takeaway for this episode, that I was right on this one.
Text us at 330-366-2636 and tell D how wrong he was.
I think I was pretty right. But anyway, what's your takeaway for this episode?
My takeaway is trust in the Lord, not your finances, not your job, not your boss. Because they never walked on water. They didn't. They never turned water to wine. And so heaven is at stake.
Yeah.
Boom.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Boom. Well, that does it for this episode. We want to thank you for tuning in. I did it again.
Boom. Yeah. Get on the gray couch.
I did it again. I can't get these buttons right. Hold on. Here we go. Yeah. Wait. There it is. Well, that does it for this episode. We want to thank you for tuning into another episode of No Negations Podcast. If this is your first time with